In the hushed anticipation of a nation before the political firestorm truly ignited, there was a young woman, Karoline Leavitt, whose life was a tapestry of ambition, intellect, and a quiet yearning for purpose. She was not yet the formidable voice that would one day command attention, nor the resilient spirit that would face down critics with unwavering conviction. Instead, she was a keen observer, navigating the intricate currents of Washington, D.C., a city that pulsed with power, but often left her feeling like an outsider. Born with an innate curiosity and a sharp mind, Karoline had always been drawn to the mechanisms of governance, the grand debates that shaped a nation's destiny. Yet amidst the polished rhetoric and the calculated maneuvers, she sensed a disconnect, a void between the promises whispered from the podium and the palpable anxieties echoing through the heartland. She yearned for authenticity, for a leader whose words resonated not just with policy papers, but with the raw, untamed spirit of the American people. The air in the capital was thick with partisan tension, the news cycles a relentless drumbeat of division. Every morning, Karoline would sift through headlines, searching for a glimmer of hope, a sign that the political landscape could shift, could perhaps even heal. She was a witness to the frustration simmering beneath the surface. A generation, yearning for a voice that would cut through the noise and speak directly to their aspirations. Then came the announcement: President Trump would deliver a speech to a joint session of Congress. The pundits buzzed with predictions, the media prepared for a spectacle, and the nation held its breath. For Karoline, it wasn't just another political event, it was a moment of profound anticipation. She had followed the unconventional trajectory of this presidency, observing the fervent loyalty it inspired and the fierce opposition it provoked. She approached this speech not with fixed preconceptions, but with an open mind, a critical ear, and a heart quietly hoping for something more than just politics as usual. Little did she know, this wasn't just a speech. This was the precipice of a seismic shift in her own life. This was the moment where the abstract ideals she held would collide with a visceral reality, where a leader's words would become a personal revelation, echoing deep within her soul. This was the night a young woman would find her calling, stirred by a passion so intense it would bring her to tears, forever altering the course of her destiny. Before we dive deeper into the extraordinary journey of Karoline Leavitt, we invite you to become a part of our community. If you're captivated by stories of transformation, conviction, and unwavering resolve, please subscribe to our channel, hit the like button to show your support, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your engagement helps us bring more inspiring narratives like Karoline's to light. The television screen flickered to life, its blue glow illuminating the dim living room where Karoline sat, perched on the edge of her seat. Around her, the city of Washington, D.C. hummed with the same nervous energy, a collective intake of breath as the nation tuned in. President Trump strode to the podium, the applause a thunderous wave, and Karoline felt a familiar tension settle. In her shoulders, this was it. The moment every pundit dissected, every citizen judged. She leaned forward, prepared to analyze, to critique, to observe. Initially, the speech unfolded as many expected. A recap of achievements, a declaration of intent. Karoline's mind, sharp and analytical, processed the data, the statistics, the policy points. But then, a subtle shift occurred. The president began to speak not just of legislation, but of the soul of the nation, of forgotten communities, of the spirit of resilience that defined the American people. He spoke of individual liberty, of the dreams of working families, of a patriotism that transcended partisan divides. It wasn't a sudden burst, but a slow, creeping warmth that spread through Karoline's chest. He wasn't just reciting facts, he was telling a story, their story. The story of people she knew, people she had met, people who felt overlooked by the very institutions designed to serve them. He spoke of dignity, of hard work, of a future where every American had the chance to thrive, not just survive. His voice, often criticized as abrasive, now seemed to carry a resonant truth, an undeniable conviction that bypassed the political filters and lodged itself directly in her heart. A lump formed in Karoline's throat, unexpected and insistent. Her vision began to blur, not from sadness, but from a profound sense of recognition. It was as if he was articulating the very hopes and frustrations that had quietly churned within her, the unspoken yearning for a leader who saw beyond the beltway and spoke directly to the dreams of everyday Americans. She felt a deep, almost spiritual connection to the narrative he was weaving, a tapestry of shared values and a fierce belief in American exceptionalism. Then came the moment that shattered the room's air, for Karoline at least. The president spoke of resilience, of the American spirit to overcome adversity, of the unwavering belief in the potential for greatness. He spoke of the brave men and women who had fought for freedom, and of the ordinary citizens who embodied the true strength of the nation. It was a call to unity, not through compromise of principle, but through a shared love of country and a commitment to its founding ideals, and that was it. A single tear escaped, tracing a hot path down her cheek, quickly followed by another, and then a silent, unstoppable cascade. Her heart pounded, a frantic rhythm against her ribs. The tears weren't tears of sorrow or despair. They were tears of profound recognition, of validation, of a powerful, undeniable sense that what she was hearing was not just rhetoric, but a truth that had been waiting to be spoken aloud. It was a truth that resonated with her deepest convictions, awakening a fire she hadn't known lay dormant within her. In that moment, watching the screen, Karoline Leavitt knew, with an absolute certainty that chilled her to the bone, even as it ignited her soul, that her life, indeed, had just changed forever. The applause that followed the president's final words faded into the hum of the television, but for Karoline, the silence that settled was far more profound. Her cheeks were still damp, a testament to the emotional torrent that had just passed through her. She sat motionless, rooted to the spot, the images of the speech replaying in her mind's eye, each word echoing with new, startling clarity. This wasn't just a political address. It felt like a personal awakening. Her heart, which had pounded with such intensity moments before, now thrummed with a steady, quiet power. She tried to articulate what she had just experienced, but words felt clumsy, inadequate. It was a feeling of profound recognition, as if a long dormant part of her spirit had finally stirred. The tears had not been born of sadness or frustration, but of a sudden, overwhelming resonance with something true, something authentic, something that spoke directly to the core of her being. It was the sound of a drumbeat she recognized, a melody she had always implicitly known, but never heard played so clearly. She had always been drawn to public service, to the idea of making a difference, but often felt adrift in the vast, often cynical ocean of politics. Tonight, however, felt different. It was as if a compass needle, long spinning aimlessly, had suddenly snapped into perfect alignment. The speech had not just articulated policy, it had articulated a vision, a spirit of America that resonated deeply with her own ideals, a belief in the power of the individual, the importance of unwavering loyalty to country, and the unyielding pursuit of justice against all odds. A profound sense of responsibility began to settle upon her. Heavy, yet exhilarating. This wasn't just a fleeting emotion, it was a powerful conviction taking root. She realized, with a jolt of exhilaration mixed with trepidation, that merely observing from the sidelines was no longer an option. The passion that had brought her to tears demanded action, a tangible commitment to the principles that had just moved her so deeply. Her path, once a winding road of possibilities, suddenly narrowed, illuminated by a singular, urgent purpose. The world outside her window seemed to hum with new meaning. The familiar Washington skyline, often a symbol of entrenched power, now felt like a stage awaiting her entrance. The cynicism that had sometimes clouded her perspective began to recede, replaced by a fierce, almost unshakable optimism. Karoline Leavitt knew, in that quiet, tear-streaked aftermath, that the person she was before the speech was no longer. A new Karoline was emerging, forged in the crucible of unexpected emotion, ready to step into a future she hadn't dared to imagine. Just moments before, the echoes of conviction vibrated within her, signaling the dawn of a life irrevocably, undeniably changed. The morning after the speech dawned with a new, startling clarity. The city outside Karoline's window hummed with its usual rhythm, yet everything felt different to her. The air, usually a blend of ambition and cynicism, now carried an electric charge of possibility. The profound emotional experience of the night before hadn't dissipated with sleep. If anything, it had solidified into an unshakable resolve. The tears had not just been an outpouring of emotion, they had been a baptism, washing away doubt and replacing it with an incandescent purpose. Karoline didn't hesitate. The quiet observer was no more. The urgency that had taken root in her heart demanded action, immediate and decisive. Her first step was not grand, but deliberate. She spent hours researching, devouring articles, speeches, and policy papers related to the themes that had resonated so deeply with her. She sought out news of conservative youth groups, of local political organizations aligned with the movement, that had, for the first time, truly spoken to her soul. It was a deep dive, fueled by an insatiable hunger for knowledge and a burning desire to understand how she could contribute to this revitalized vision for America. But knowledge alone wouldn't suffice. The conviction demanded participation. With a surge of courage that surprised even herself, Karoline began reaching out. She sent emails, made phone calls, and attended local political meetings, events she might have once viewed with a detached, analytical eye. Now she sought connection, a shared sense of purpose with others who felt the same stirring of patriotism and hope. She wasn't just attending, she was listening, absorbing, and when the moment arose, speaking with a newfound confidence that stemmed directly from her recent awakening. Her initial efforts were met with a mix of curiosity and, at times, skepticism. She was young, passionate, and relatively new to the active political trenches, yet the fire in her eyes, the genuine conviction in her voice, began to open doors. She offered to volunteer for any task, no matter how small or mundane. Stuffing envelopes, making phone calls, organizing events, every action, every effort became a tangible expression of her burgeoning commitment. Each task, no matter how seemingly insignificant, was a vital brick laid in the foundation of her new path. This wasn't just about finding a career, it was about fulfilling a calling. The transformation initiated by a single speech had propelled her into motion, driven by a powerful sense that she was finally aligned with her true purpose. There was no longer any question of if she would be involved, but how. Karoline Leavitt was taking her first resolute steps into the arena, fueled by the echo of conviction and the unwavering belief that her life had, indeed, just begun its most significant chapter. The path from fervent volunteer to influential operative was not a smooth ascent for Karoline Leavitt. It was a rugged climb, fraught with unseen pitfalls and audible whispers of doubt. Yet, with every step, the conviction, ignited by that fateful speech, served as her unwavering compass. Her intelligence, once merely a tool for analysis, now sharpened into a formidable weapon for advocacy. She absorbed knowledge like a sponge, mastering policy details, understanding the intricate dance of political strategy, and proving herself indispensable in every role she undertook. But as she began to rise, the whispers turned into audible taunts, especially concerning her youth. Too young, inexperienced, just a fresh face. These were the frequent dismissive refrains she encountered in corridors of power and behind the scenes of political rallies. Seasoned veterans, comfortable in their long-held positions, often looked past her, or worse, through her. She felt the chill of being underestimated, the sting of being treated as though her passion was a mere youthful folly rather than a profound, transformative commitment. There were countless times she felt out of place in rooms full of people who doubted her abilities, her youthful appearance masking a maturity and resolve far beyond her years. One memorable instance involved a particularly condescending pundit. At a small, regional political event, he dismissed her insights on a complex issue, attributing her views to naive idealism. Karoline, however, met his disdain with calm, irrefutable facts, delivered with a quiet authority that belied her age. She didn't raise her voice. She simply presented a meticulously researched counter-argument, backed by data and a deep understanding of the electorate. The pundit, visibly taken aback, found himself without a coherent retort. It was a small victory, but a significant one. A testament to her burgeoning strength under pressure. Her strategy was simple, yet profoundly effective. Outwork, outthink, and outconvict every doubter. She became known for her relentless dedication, working longer hours, delving deeper into issues, and consistently delivering results that surpassed expectations. She was present, prepared, and always passionately articulate. It was through these actions, rather than defiant words, that she began to silence even her harshest critics. Their dismissive murmurs slowly gave way to grudging respect, and then, often to genuine admiration. Karoline's journey was not just about proving others wrong. It was about proving herself right. It was about honoring the emotional clarity that had brought her to tears, demonstrating that her convictions were not fleeting sentiments, but the bedrock of a life now dedicated to a cause greater than herself. The young observer had become an undeniable force, rising through the ranks not by happenstance, but by sheer will and an unyielding commitment to the ideals that had forever changed her life. As Karoline Leavitt continued her ascent, the once quiet observer found herself increasingly thrust into the unforgiving glare of the public spotlight. Her meticulous work behind the scenes, her undeniable intellect, and her unshakable resolve had not gone unnoticed. Soon, she was no longer just advising. She was speaking, her voice, clear and unwavering, resonating from podiums, across television, screens, and through the charged air of packed auditoriums. The transformation was complete. The passionate young woman who had once shed tears in a quiet living room was now a formidable public figure. Her style was instantly recognizable, marked by a declarative and resolute conviction that cut through the typical political rhetoric. There was no hedging, no equivocation in Karoline's pronouncements. When she spoke of the principles that guided her, her words were sharp as a blade, yet grounded in an authentic passion. She understood the power of directness, honed by her belief that loyalty doesn't need noise, but unwavering commitment. This ethos became her trademark. When confronted by skeptical journalists, her voice, though low, carried an undeniable authority, dismantling arguments with logical precision and a profound sense of moral clarity. One widely circulated clip showed her calmly yet definitively confronting a reporter, attempting to twist her words. With a measured pause, she looked directly into the camera and stated, "This isn't about ambition or about seeking personal gain. This is about delivering justice for the forgotten, about speaking truth to power, and about honoring the fundamental compact between a government and its people." Her clarity, her refusal to be drawn into trivial debates, instantly cemented her reputation as a voice of uncompromising integrity. It was this unwavering commitment to truth, above all else, that captivated audiences. In a political landscape, often defined by shifting narratives, Karoline stood as a beacon of consistency. She didn't shy away from difficult topics or unpopular stances if they aligned with her deeply held beliefs. Her sincerity was palpable, inspiring trust and respect, even from those who might not entirely agree with her positions. Her story, from a young woman moved to tears by a speech to a leading voice in a national movement, became a narrative of hope for many, especially for young people searching for genuine leadership. Youth groups began to invite her, eager to hear her journey, to understand the source of her courage. Karoline spoke not just of policy, but of purpose, of finding one's calling, and of the profound impact one individual could have when driven by conviction. She became a mentor, a symbol of what was possible when one dared to believe and dared to speak. Her voice, once a quiet echo of a transformative moment, had now become a resonant roar, shaping conversations and igniting passions across the nation. The echoes of that pivotal speech in Congress, the one that had brought Karoline Leavitt to tears, never truly faded. Instead, they became the foundational chords of her life symphony, guiding every decision, every challenge, every triumph. What began as a solitary emotional moment in front of a television screen blossomed into a public life dedicated to the very ideals that had moved her so deeply. She was no longer just a participant in the political discourse. She was a shapeshifter, a powerful force whose unwavering conviction redefined the landscape around her. Her journey, from the quiet tears of a young woman to the resounding voice of a national figure, served as a living testament to the power of authentic belief. The early taunts about her age, the cynical dismissals of her passion, all crumbled before her relentless dedication and the undeniable clarity of her message. She proved, time and again, that true influence wasn't merely about accumulated years or established titles, but about the courage to speak truth, the resilience to endure attacks, and the profound loyalty to principles that transcended personal gain. Karoline's impact rippled far beyond the political arena. She became a beacon for countless young individuals, inspiring them to find their own voices, to engage with the issues that mattered, and to never shy away from conviction, even when it led to an unpopular stance. Her story became a narrative of hope, a reminder that authentic leadership could emerge from the most unexpected places, sparked by a single resonant moment. The tears she shed had not been a sign of weakness, but a raw, unvarnished display of a soul recognizing its true purpose. Her commitment remained unyielding, whether advocating for policies, challenging prevailing narratives, or mentoring the next generation of leaders. Karoline operated with the same fierce dedication and ethical compass that had guided her since that transformative night. Her career was not just a series of accomplishments, it was a continuous affirmation of the values that had stirred her spirit. The life she built was a direct consequence of that visceral connection to a leader's words, a life forever steered by the profound realization that a single moment could indeed redefine everything. The young woman who once yearned for purpose now lived it, vibrantly and unequivocally. Karoline Leavitt's story is an enduring reminder that sometimes the most profound changes begin with an unexpected spark, a moment of tears that washes away the old and ushers in a destiny far grander than one could ever imagine. Her tears didn't mark an end, but the very beginning of a life, irrevocably, triumphantly, and forever changed. This story of Karoline Leavitt's incredible transformation is just one example of the powerful journeys that unfold around us every day. If her dedication and unwavering conviction resonated with you, we encourage you to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring narratives. Please like this video to show your support, share it with those who need a dose of courage and conviction, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Your engagement helps us bring these vital stories to light.